Hi, this is Elizabeth Hanke. I was elected to the Mankato Area Public School Board about a month ago, and I am just giving my stakeholders an update on what I've been doing and the last couple public forum meetings or public school board meetings that I've attended and what was discussed. We're going to start out with we voted for committees, and the committees that we voted for, a couple of the committee memberships actually changed after our vote and be for our February meeting. So I'll go ahead and tell you about what happened and how that process works. We also had student parents come speak at the school board meeting about the Eagle Lake Forest Preschool. And then fast forward to here, now that it's February of 2025, there's a focus school development, and there was a presentation about focus schools, but there were also parents that came to speak at that particular meeting to express some concerns. So I'm going to run through all of that with you, and I'm going to share my screen so that way we can just walk through it step by step of what's going on. So right here, you're going to see the January agenda and minutes. And if we go down to the approval J, School Board Members Committee and School Assignments, we go ahead and click there. And this is kind of the really nice thing about the transparency of the district, as you can find all this stuff. Here we have what was approved in our January meeting for who's serving on which committees. So we have Patrick Baker, myself, Elizabeth Hankey, Christopher Kind, Carrie Pratt. And then here's where our changes happen because we voted for Liz Radcliffe to be on the policy committee and Aaron Roberts to be on the communication committee. And that what occurred, and you can watch on the video of that as well if you want to go back through and watch the video of us taking a vote on these things. And then we get to the February meeting, and during our workshop and committee updates, board member Pratt said she welcomed board member Roberts to the policy committee, which wasn't what we voted on. And then I went to the district website just to take a look at our committee schedule, and sure enough, things had changed. So here we have the Community Communication Committee, Patrick Baker, which we voted on, but it changed to Liz Radcliffe, and it had been Aaron Roberts. And then Executive Committee stayed the same, and here's their schedule. Finance Committee, Facilities Committee, those stayed the same, but Policy Committee also changed. So you'll see here Aaron Roberts and Carrie Pratt, where in January we had voted for Liz Radcliffe. And so you're like probably thinking, how does that happen? That the school board voted on one set of members for our committees, and a month later we ended up with actually some different school board members serving on those committees. So here is if you go to policies, the 200 level, this is policy 214. And policy 214, it says the school board chair shall appoint the members of each standing or ad hoc committee and designate the chair thereof. So apparently the chair, who is currently Shannon Finning, can make changes. Generally, you discuss those changes with your school board. For me, I was unaware that any of this was happening until, of course, it was mentioned by board member and vice chair Carrie Pratt at that February meeting. So that change occurred, and I wanted you to make you aware of it. And then we're going to go to the discussion pertaining to the Eagle Lake Preschool. It was not on the agenda, but parents did show up for the meeting, so they were able to speak. And rather than having you listen to their speeches, which will just take too much time, I just thought I'll pull up this article. Mankato District's parents prepare for Eagle Lake Preschool move. So currently, threes and fours preschool are in Eagle Lake. Fours is currently half days, and it's changing to full days, but it'll be threes will still be in Eagle Lake, but fours will be moving to Mankato. And so some of the parents expressed concerns. And so we have this article that you can go and read more thoroughly. I just kind of wanted, to point out some of her concerns. That's not super easy to find daycare or good quality daycare. When the school came in offering daycare, I don't know, they may have lost some of their daycare options there in town. This particular parent preferred the half day model versus the full day model. So that was one concern. But the other concern is like going back and forth and the change from going threes in kindergarten in one school building and fours in another school building, and just being amongst the teachers and getting to know the staff in that year as well. That won't be an opportunity. And then also having to drive to a different community to transport your kids versus having the potential option of walking. So those were some concerns addressed. Because it wasn't on the agenda, the school did not address the parents in that capacity, although I think there has been additional meetings with the Eagle Lake City Council by some of our members. So then we're going to move ahead until we get to our February agenda. And on this agenda was our focus schools. So I'm here on, clicked on the elementary focus school report, and then you can click on presentation, which then brings up the presentation that our staff gave to us pertaining to these focus schools. So I'll just go ahead and brief you on them just very quickly. I'm not going to go through everything because I want to keep this short and sweet. But Bridges is currently a school that parents have to apply to get in, and then just randomly students are chosen and accepted to this school. So it's not like on there's no restriction of air small area. It's just that anybody within the district can apply to get into the school, and you're just drawn from a hat, more or less. And this is going to become a global focused school. One thing to point out is as they have a mock schedule, that the mock schedules all look pretty similar until you get to the end of the day. So at the end of the day is really where this global focus begins, especially here on Wednesdays. They have world language co-teaching experiences. Jefferson is going to be a community school, so there is an attendance boundary within the district for students that are currently going to Jefferson. Now you're going to be able to, the kindergartners, it was open to everybody to apply to get into this school. And then again, if there are too many applying for the school, then you're chosen from a hat. But in the future, it'll just be kindergartners applying to get into Jefferson. The students that are currently within the attendance area of Jefferson could apply to go to Rosa Parks or Bridges, but otherwise there is no more traditional type school setting for them to apply to. They are going to need to go to Jefferson, Rosa Parks, or Bridges. And here again, with the schedule, it only changes at the end of the day with this exploratory, especially there on Wednesdays, because Jefferson is becoming a nature school. Here's Rosa Parks. Once again, you're going to see the schedule remain pretty similar and consistent until you get to the end of the day where we see an engineering lab. And this is the STEAM school. Again, for Rosa Parks and Jefferson, these have attendance areas, and people will be able to apply to get into these schools in addition to the students that are in the attendance area. The students in the attendance area get first request, and then if there is still space, then they will be drawing additional people to come in. So when we heard from parents, some of the parents were concerned, the Jefferson Rosa Parks areas, that if there's too many students, or perhaps they don't like the focus schools approach and wanted to go to a more traditional school, that their students aren't going to be able to attend a more traditional school because the attendance exceptions. Now, attendance exceptions here says that the superintendent can make extenuating circumstances, can make exceptions. If you go to our enrollment site on our district website, so here we go, open enrollment, you can go on down to attendance exceptions. What are just generally accepted attendance exceptions that don't maybe need that approval by our superintendent? If you change residency in the middle of the school year, so if you're going from one section of town to another, you can stay in the school that you began in the very beginning of the year. If you have a daycare needs across town, your student can go to the school across town closest to the daycare. So that's a common exception. But generally, it's not an exception just to go to the school across town for any other reason than the daycare or change of residency, potentially those legal matter, without having to go through the superintendent. So that was one of the concerns was that You only have focus school options if you're in the Rosa Parks or Jefferson area. The other common theme is just that they didn't feel like the district is doing a good enough job communicating with those set of parents, and that going forward as the changes occur, that we don't have additional communication set up for these schools as they go through their changes. So I just wanted to make people aware of that. And there is a free press article on this as well. So you can kind of come over here and see preparations for Mankato school districts are underway. A lot of what's mentioned in this article are interviews outside of the school board meeting. So a lot of this wasn't actually discussed at the meeting, but it's the reporter going out of their way and doing some additional research. There is also a KMSU interview with Paul Peterson and Tabitha Miller on the focus schools. And you can Google search and look that up and listen to that, because I think there is some really interesting information within these interviews here as well that you might want to go ahead and take a listen to. But that's kind of the update of what I've heard and listened to for over this last month. And here, let's see if we can't skip to the section. Um, no. All right. Well, we'll just go ahead and end. All right. Well, I hope you found that all very informative. And if you have any other questions for me, please feel free to shoot them my way. You can find my information on the district website. And so go ahead and look up Elizabeth Hanke, Mankato Area Public School Board. You'll find my email address as well as my phone number. So feel free to give me a call. I sure appreciate it.